It's an honour to meet you.
What is it you do, and why have you been given this fantastic award?
I run a group called Tasty Not Wasty, which is
Love the name.
community interest company. So we take on surplus food from the supermarkets and then distribute it out for free to the community. I'd run Christmas Day events for the past 3 years, and I'd asked supermarkets for donations and stupidly thought that they were just going to give us one of those boxes and stand by the door and say thank you for the donation. But actually, I turned up and it was like 7 trolleys of bread, just bread, and then there was fruit and veg and fish and meat and everything that you could possibly think of. We helped about 1,000 people just on Christmas Eve last year. So yeah.
Wow. And how did you find out that you were going to be the recipient of this honour?
It was a bit of a shock because I had it through the letter originally, so it was something that came through the post, and I couldn't believe it. I was like reading it like 3 times.
And how did you feel when you were reading it 3 times? How did it make you feel?
I was just in shock. I was just like asking my daughter if I was reading it correctly.
What did she say?
Yeah, she was shocked as well. She was absolutely overwhelmed and very proud. And how did you find out about your nomination?
So I was away at work, and my husband phoned and said, this really important letter that's come through, do you want me to open it? And I sort of thought, yeah, whatever, for you tonight. And so then he sent me a text saying, you need to call me now. And I was a bit like you, I'm thinking, is this really happening? Is this really true? So I sort of read it on my phone, and then I called him and I said, read it out to me. And then I said, what does the postmark say? Because I mean, it does look very formal, but I was a bit like, I don't know, it's so unexpected. There was part of me thinking, is it genuine? The 3 kids, the kids were beyond proud. They were just thrilled. Yeah, a very proud moment indeed. Such a privilege, but none of this would happen without great people round about us. And it's that team effort that makes such a difference. So we've got the Greg's Pledge, which is sort of our 10 commitments as a business to have healthier, stronger communities, a safer planet, and be a better business. And within that, there are sort of numerous programs that we've got, such as trying to get waste from our shops to people that are most in need to our outlet shops. And they do a number of amazing actions. So they do something called Breakfast Clubs. So we feed over 75,000 school children every day across the UK in areas where there's the most deprivation. So children that potentially would come to school without having eaten in the morning, and so therefore struggle to concentrate. And then we also do hardship grants where people can come, maybe if their washing machine's broken down, and if that happens to you, you then potentially think about a payday loan and, get yourself into, through the Greg's Foundation, you can get a hardship grant, which helps you get that new washing machine plumbed in, working within a few days, and takes that worry away from you. And then we do community grants. So we go to local communities, and we're probably one of the very few foundations in the UK that actually pay the salaries of that community organisation for up to 3 years. So it allows them to try and be established, sustain themselves, and then move on. And one of the pieces, I guess, that I am most proud of is our Fresh Start programme, because that started back in 2010. We started doing visits to prisons to sort of see what we could do, but we were very much around. We would prepare people for the world of employment. Actually, we didn't think we would employ. And then we started to meet people, particularly in a women's prison in the North East. And my team were saying to me, these people would be great in our shops, they could work for us. And actually, my knowledge of the prison system was, I didn't know anything at all, and didn't realise the types of people that are in prison where just a wrong decision has taken them down a wrong path. And so we then started to look at employing, and then we developed the Fresh Start programme, because we then realised actually it's not just about people that have come through the criminal justice system, it's care leavers, it's people that have been long-term unemployed, It's people that have been through addictions and actually need someone to help them get their life back on track. And it's people from the armed forces that are veterans that actually can't find a sort of way of life. And also young adults with disabilities, like Down syndrome, etc. So we came up with the umbrella Fresh Start because it was almost actually we can try and work with anyone that just needs that little bit of help to get into sustainable employment. And we set it up with a mantra of one person at a time. I have to say that's probably one of the proudest schemes that we've got, because you see people who look, there's one gentleman that's come through the criminal justice system, became a team member. He then developed into be a shop manager, so he was running his shop. And then his regional manager just sent me an email about 3 weeks ago to say he's just been promoted to area manager through our Future Leaders programme. And you think, gosh, his life has changed completely. He's now married. I think he's got 1 or 2 children. And you just think, wow, that's the benefits of having a different pathway and helping. I mean, I always take the view that helps the local communities in which we're based, because you give someone a different pathway in life, a different sense of purpose, and probably a bit of pride back, actually, in terms of what they can go on and do.
The volunteers that I work with, they come from a range of backgrounds. You know, some of them have learning difficulties and some of them are care leavers, like you said, but some of them are retired and just want something to do, and they found friendship in, you know, coming week to week, and they started developing frozen meals that people could have. It's still using surplus food.
Right.
And we put it into microwavable meals that people can then freeze at home and defrost when they need. So then we've got a carer coming in with a person that they're looking after. He chooses the meals for the week. And the carers, because they don't have much time, they literally defrost one whilst they're microwaving the other one. So they literally have that, and he's choosing the meals for himself. So there's a lot of autonomy with our group, because we like people to be able to choose what they're having. We don't like to just give them a bag and say, be on your way, kind of thing.
Sabrina, what is lovely is that sense of control that person's got.
So on Christmas Eve, they all band together and we take over the church that we've been given the space of, and we literally fill it with all of the vegetables, all of the bread, all of the everything that comes from the supermarkets, and then distribute it out to like 12 different centres across Torvine. One of the Christmas Eves, the first time that we did it, we actually were driving it around to people's houses, and it was really dark, so it was really hard to find this one girl's house. And we've eventually found it, and she sent me a message saying, "Oh, thank you for all this food." And I thought, oh, that's enough, you know, lovely to have. The next day, she sent me a message, and I was cooking Christmas Day, because I do Christmas Day at the church as well, for up to 60 people. And I got a message, and I had to stop cooking because she sent me a message basically saying, it's lovely to have the children say that the tummies are full. And the young kid basically came down the stairs and said, oh, you know, we must have been really good this year because Santa has given us all of this lovely food, and it made me cry.
Gosh, what an impact that has, not just on that lady, but on that family. I'm also impressed that you cook for 60 people on Christmas Day. Wow, that is, and is that for the local community, anyone that's sort of on their own, etc.?
So we've had Ukrainian families, because if their host families are having their families over, then they've been with us. We've had single people, and we've had older people. So it just is a mixed bag, and it's just amazing to just come together. And I get the complaint that I feed them too much, but you know, that's not a bad complaint. So we listen to the King's speech, and then they all have their fill and they go home. We have the Christmas tree that's decorated by usually the college for autistic children, and so all of the community come together for some part or element of it, you know, either gift giving or, you know, donating a turkey or something like that. So yeah, it's all good.
Gosh, it's fantastic, isn't it? it makes Christmas even more special, not just for them, but for you and the volunteers as well.
Yeah,